Make sure y'all get them likes up. Get them likes up. It's almost showtime. Ameera, let's go. See the green gang. I see y'all. Likes up, family. Get them likes up. What's going on, family? What's going on? Welcome to Ameera's show on the Lapeef Network. Pleasure to have you guys in attendance tonight. This is going to be a great show because it's Ameera. Ameera always had great shows. Before she gets her show started, I just wanted to first off say thank you for subscribing to the channel because I know you guys already done that. And I want to say thank you for hitting that like button because I know that's been done already. Green Gang, I see y'all in the house. I did shout you guys out. I appreciate y'all. But we have a special announcement. If you haven't heard already, we'll be having our first live show in Houston. Our first live show is in Houston. That is April the 23rd. There's a capacity limit. Tickets are selling. And I just want to make sure that you guys know that the tickets are live right now. So click the link that's pinned to the top of the chat right there and come see us in person, man. You guys get the opportunity to become a part of history because it's our first show. It's our first show, so I don't want you to miss that opportunity. Well, Ameera, how you feeling? You good?
I am happy. The weekend has come to an end, and it was one fine weekend. How about you, JR?
No complaints, man. I've been working all day, but that's the fun part. I love
You're
to
always
work.
working.
I know. It is what it is, man. But I'm blessed. I woke up this morning and I do it for everybody. I do it for the people, man. If it wasn't for the people tuning in and supporting us the way they do, then I don't know. But either way, what's the show about? Everybody been talking about that title.
Oh, man. This has been on my mind. It's always on my mind. And I didn't run it past you this time. I didn't actually explain to you what it was going to be about, but we have freedom in this country, and I wanted to expand more about the freedoms that we have here. And if you see the thumbnail that we put on today, you see a man who's, sitting on the ground in rags, and then there's another man giving him money. This is a representation of the freedom that we have in the West to fail and to succeed. In other countries, you don't have this option to fail. You must succeed. And I'm going to expand more on that a little bit more into the stream. But basically, that's what it's going to be about.
All right. Well, make sure you guys get the likes up. Also, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to the sponsor of the show, Tej Hanley. Shout out to Tej Hanley. That link is in the description. So make sure you click that, get yourself your free gift. And again, we will be live in Houston, April the 23rd. That link is pinned to the top. All right, Ameera, I'll let you do your thing. I'm going to sit back and take some notes.
Thank you, JR. Thank you so much. Guys, shout out to JR. If you like JR, if you love JR, smash that like button like it had it coming. Thank you so much. And I guess let's just begin. Let's begin talking about what we need to talk about today. I hope you all had a great weekend. I hope that you are enjoying your Sunday. Sundays are such beautiful days because we get to relax into the week. We get to drift slowly into the week. So here we go. I want to speak to you all about this topic because it's really important, because this also is intertwined into relationships. Everything that we see on the political sphere or outside is all tied into our homes. The battleground is at home. And this is why I want to speak to you all about the outside things before we talk about the inside things at home. Have you guys ever seen anyone outside that, they've gone to Harvard, they've gone to an elite school, they have the best education, they have everything on the books. On the books, they are perfect. But you start speaking to them, and they tend to either not have any common sense, or they tend to be unclassy
What?
people. They do. And this is why I want to say that class is not learned in class. You don't go to class to learn class. And this is an important thing that a lot of us forget. And have you guys ever seen those people who are so charismatic, so amazingly attractive, not just physically, but their aura, their energy is attractive, and you just want to be around them and hear them speak. You want to hear what they have to say, even though they may not be the most intelligent of people, they may not be the best role model per se, but there's something about them. And it could be class, it could be elegance, it could be all of these things that you do not learn in school. I want to further tell you guys, every time that I see these, I want to say these really highly educated people, we see this very often today, especially with liberals. Uh, Hi, Riva. We see this a lot, especially in like the liberal media, and we see it where we have highly educated people that have lost their common sense, have lost their mind, and they believe that we are progressing when we're actually degressing, regressing. We are going backwards, not forwards. There is a term that says you can go so far right that you end up going left because you have just come full circle. And I've seen this happen a lot. This is why I say class doesn't teach you everything. And even though, yes, school is a way to try to get ahead and try to get your footing, a lot of times there's so many things that you can't learn in school that you must learn from either experience, or some people naturally have it. I've seen naturally classy people, naturally well mannered, naturally just charismatic people. So, this is why I say there's so many things that you can't learn in class, and class is one of those things that you cannot learn in class. There is no class that's going to teach you class. There are classes to teach you etiquette, there are classes to teach you how to be a good orator. I think that's the word, how to speak properly, but they cannot teach you how to be a classy person. I want to tell you guys that coming from the East, I want to say that the West gives us way too much freedom. And I want to expand on that. We have so much freedom in this country that we have the ability to go ahead and move above all the world. You know what I mean? We have more opportunities than everyone in the world here. But it's not balanced. We don't have any balance in this country from society. I'm going to expand. When you have such a free society, I've always said this. I've always said you cannot have a country that has sexual liberation with a welfare state. Does that make sense? You can't have sexual liberation and live in a welfare state, because if you're so liberated sexually, you're going to be irresponsible. There's going to be a lot of hiccups, there's going to be a lot of issues happening. And if we also have that paired with a welfare state, that will cause the system to crumble. The majority of the time, we end up having so much freedom, but there's not enough balance from society to keep everyone in order. We have a lot of people, how can I say this? We have so many people happy using their freedom, but don't realize the price that comes at it, the price that comes with that freedom. We have the government that also, now I know this is kind of political. I know, JR, I know you don't like when I go too political, but this is intertwined with our
Nope.
family lives as well. Stop it, JR. But this is also intertwined with our family lives. And I want to say thank you to the super chat. Thank you, Don Kell. He says, continue spreading the truth. Ameera, stay blessed. Thank you so much for the super chat, guys. I appreciate everything. All support, any support, I appreciate it. What I want to tell you is, when I see this world, when I see the Western world, and I see how many people are able to succeed, I also look at the people who are failing. The people who are failing in life, in their jobs, in their relationships, everything is intertwined. We in this country, we have the ability to fail. We have the ability to fail hard in this country. And I'm going to actually bring up later in a little bit after I finish telling you about this. I want to also bring up other places that you're not allowed to fail. But let's just stay here for now. Here in this country, you're allowed to fail. You're allowed to say, I don't want to work. I don't feel like doing anything. You know what? I'm going to pitch my tent outside and I'm going to live out here. I'm going to enjoy smoking what have you, smoking hoo-ha and whatnot. I wish Rila was here. If Rila was here, he would find a word for this. Oh my gosh, shout out to Rila. If Rila was here, he would say like, I don't know, honey badgers and numstuckers or something like that. I don't know. You know Rila. I want to say thank you to the super chat. Thank you, Nicolas. He says, hey, Ameera, what do you think the solution is to creating that balance in the Western world? Well, don't jump ahead. Don't jump ahead of me. We're getting there. We see so many people that are able to fail and they take advantage of the ability to fail. The reason why I think that a lot of Americans are unmotivated to move ahead, there's a lot of us that are unmotivated to move ahead because we have the ability to fall. We have the ability to say, I just don't feel like it. And we can get government assistance. The government does not punish you for failing. They don't imprison you for not having a job, for not making a family, for not anything. There's no punishments. There's no consequences. That's why we see so many women who are so freely able to say, I'm just going to live my life as a single woman. That's it. With a smile and a dog in their hand, right? I'm going to live my life as a single woman because there's no consequence. The consequences that they will face will be in their own personal lives later, but that will come only in their life. They're not going to see any consequences from society. Society doesn't tell you, you need to do this, and if you don't, this is going to happen to you. Well, until recently. Now we recently have people like Lapeef, we have people like Courtney, people like Kevin Samuels saying there's consequences to this. But this is just a recent phenomena that we have where people are starting to say the truth. Thank you for the super chat, nice sometimes. He says, are Western women wifey material in your country? We'll get to that. So anyway, this is why I want to talk to you all about this, because these are things that you guys, a lot of you guys who are American who are listening to me right now, a lot of you are American and you guys have no idea about other societies and how they run and the punishments that would happen to me if I were not to get married. Let's use me for example. I wouldn't have the freedom to say, I'm just going to live like a single woman. I don't want anything. I don't want family. I don't want to live. There's consequences for me. Even me in my own, even if I'm living in America, I live under this patriarchy. I live under patriarchy, even living in America. In my family, patriarchy rules. If I were to say, I don't want to marry, I don't want this, I might be exiled from my family. I might be ostracized. I might be broke. I might be living on the street right now because my family would say, I'll be darned if I'm going to support you while you just sit here with dogs and no husband. We're not going to take care of you because you want to not bond with a man or try to make a family. We're not going to take care of you. And I couldn't run to the government either because there's no consequences that I see for American women. So the ability to fail in this country, the freedom to fail, is something that I believe is bringing down our society. And this is why I say the freedom to be nothing is destroying us. You have the freedom to be nothing. You have the freedom to say, I don't want anything. I don't want to be anything. And it's okay. But that is destroying us. It's destroying us from the inside because if you guys notice something, I'm going to tell you guys something. And you guys tell me in the chat if it's true or not. And I'm watching the chat, so I'm going to see your answers. Tell me this. When you see immigrants, illegal immigrants, legal immigrants, whoever have you, when they come here and they work so hard and you don't understand where they get this drive from, you're like, they just come here and take over. A lot of Americans have been complaining about immigrants coming to this country and taking over, taking jobs, taking whatever have you, and dominating communities. Think about these people. You think about these people who come here from these other countries and they work so hard, but then you look at Americans who refuse to work hard, who refuse to open businesses, who don't see a way out. You see Americans who are complaining that there's nothing here, there's no jobs, there's no opportunity, it's unfair, there's a patriarchy, and the women can't get ahead, and there's a system holding everybody down, and there's always somebody just hovering over you who won't let you get ahead. But you see other people who come here and do just fine. In fact, they succeed over the Americans. A lot of these people come from countries where they didn't have the freedom to fail. They didn't have that. So they had a match under their arse the whole time that they were alive. They had that lighter with that little bitty flame just slightly searing your arse, searing your rear end, so they could always understand that they had to move. You need to move. You need to keep going, and I don't care about how you feel. A lot of Americans don't have it. And that's a freedom. That is a luxury. It's a luxury to say, I live in a country where I can just sit and there's no punishment, there's no problem. The government will assist me, the government will help me. Do you know that in California, Washington, New York, and a few other states, there are bills being made that are talking about giving homeless people housing that they're going to take from people who actually work hard. They're going to give it to homeless people. This is the ability to fail. This is the freedom to fail. You have freedom to fail. And not only will you be okay, but you will be rewarded. You are rewarded for failing because this is the freedom. And I want to kind of burn that in you guys' ears if I can. This is a privilege. You have the freedom, the privilege to fail, the privilege to say, I don't want to do anything. And you can do that. Other countries cannot. I want to give you guys a little bit of information, and I'm going to share it with you right now. In other countries, I'll give you an example. In a country like North Korea, if you look at the laws in North Korea, you cannot be jobless. Even though it's a socialist society, you cannot be jobless. You will be imprisoned for being jobless. You will be imprisoned for being homeless. You cannot do that. There is no freedom to lay down on the street and say, it's okay. When we have a country that is giving you the freedom to fail, there's no motivation. Well, there's motivation, but it's also motivation to say, I don't want to do anything too. There's motivation both ways to say, I want to work hard, but then there's also motivation to say, well, even if I don't, I'll be okay because I have a social safety net. In society today, we have people who say, it's okay, I can do whatever I want. And this falls down to relationships. This trickles down into relationships. And this is why I want to tell you, even in relationships, we see people doing the same thing. This is, how can you say? So you know how you can actually be homeless, yeah? You can have a tent and you can live on the street. What about being relationship homeless, relationship jobless? You have no job in a relationship. You have nothing. You are unemployed in a relationship sense. You're unemployed. You have nothing. And there's no consequences to it. In fact, there's benefits. Just like the government, American government will give you benefits for being homeless, you get benefits for also being unemployed in a relationship sense. You get benefits. A lot of people were talking about how the government has this plan to separate families, and especially in the Black community, there's also been this point about the government separating Black families and giving benefits to the women for being single. How the government would come into women's houses and see if there was a man available there. And if there was, the woman would lose her benefits. These are incentives to be alone, incentives to be unemployed in a relationship sense. Thank you, Cousin Joey. He says, the best freedom I ever gave myself after I left the Marine Corps was to stay by myself. Real talk. I, for a man, if you were a woman, I would say this is not good. But since you're a man, I couldn't even say I disagree with this, because men, unfortunately, men live in this society where there's not that many wives. So who am I to say to this man, Cousin Joey? Who am I to say, Cousin Joey, what are you doing by yourself? You shouldn't be by yourself. You need to find a woman and stay with her no matter what. I can't really say that. I can't, as a man, I feel so bad for men today. I feel so bad for especially Generation Z. You guys have it really bad. I look around today. You know how I look at things? I look at women and think, would I be happy if this woman was my mother? The women outside that I see today, I look at them and I think, would I be happy or proud if this woman that's walking down the street is my mother, or if she were my mother? Because when you look at women, you don't need to look at them like, oh, she looks good, or oh, she's attractive. You have to think, if this woman was the mother of my children, would I be proud? If this woman was my mother, would I be proud? Is this someone that I can look to and say, she looks decent. She looks like a decent person. She looks like a person that you wouldn't be ashamed of claiming, that you wouldn't be ashamed of saying that this is my mother, this is my wife, this is the mother of my children. So, Cousin Joey, I I guess I can only be happy for you. You saying that you were alone after the Marine Corps. I can only be happy for you because there aren't that many wives today. We have the freedom to fail here, and this is what is causing. Now, I'm going to open the phone lines, but you guys have to tell me, do you think that this is the truth, that the freedom to fail is the issue? But in other countries, I want to tell you, in other countries, there are so many rules restricting your freedoms, and you don't have the ability to say that you can. In this country, you can also say, I don't feel like I want. Oh, okay. I'm going to share this with you as well. There's other rules, especially in the state that I live in. In the state that I live in, they have new bills coming talking about how they're going to allow, um, if you want to use street favors, you guys understand what I'm saying. If you want to use street favors, they have facilities now that they are building so that if you feel like you want to use illegal street favors, you can go to said facility and party on. It's a party, right? It's the freedom to fail. You have the freedom to be an addict. You have the freedom to live on the street. How are we supposed to expect humanity to move forward if we have this kind of system going on where everything is okay? Every failure is okay, and you will not be judged. You cannot be judged for anything that you do anymore. How are we supposed to get ahead? How are we supposed to? We have a country like China. We have a country like China that is training their children in the proper disciplined way, when then we have American children that are being taught that it's okay, whatever you do, it's okay, because you can never feel any consequences for your actions, because even if you do fail, well, it's not really a failure because daddy government is there for you. It's not really a failure. What if we dropped an American off into another country that they don't have the ability to fail in? You don't have the ability to say, I'm just going to be single all my life. I'm just going to live on the side of the street. Oh, I'm just going to not work because I can just stand outside with a sign that says, please help. What if we dropped one of those kind of Americans in another country? What will happen to them? What will happen? I'm curious. Look, I'm not alone. I am just by myself. A choice is what it is, but be real. You need to keep you to yourself. Sometimes it's best to just be you. Live your truth, Joey. Live your truth. However you feel best, live your truth. If that's what you want, you have the freedom to do that in America. Enjoy. Nobody has to be with anyone if they don't want to here. You don't have to do anything. So live your truth. In, let me see, there's other countries that did have the same rules that I'm talking about, and most of these countries were the Soviet Union countries. They had the same system where you could not fail. You could not say that you're going to live on the street because you'll be punished for doing so. You will be imprisoned for doing so, and then you'll be forced to work in prison. My last point that I want to bring up to you all is this. The West is aiding us into becoming nothing. The West is aiding us into becoming nothing with no family, no marriage, no home, no job, no nothing. The West is aiding us into doing this. And this is why I tell you guys, there's something going on, and I know I'm not supposed to like go this far into certain topics, but I want you guys to just hear me and I'll speak in code. But there's something else that I see going on in this country that is a push towards something dangerous. And this thing is typically what I refer to as communism, socialism, what have you. Many of you guys may not see the world the way I do, but this is something that I believe in my heart, because when I see the way the government is treating relationships, marriages, and work ethic, the way that they are treating these issues is in a way to bring us to a point where we say, okay, everybody's going to put all of their money into a bucket and the government is going to distribute said money to everyone. Instead of it being private, everyone having their own and doing what they please, you will give everything you have to the government and the government will distribute it as they see fit. The laws that we have that are being made today, talking about giving from the rich, taking from the rich and give to the poor. Take from the rich and give to the poor, right? Eat the rich, right? Eat them, because who cares? You got rich? That doesn't
Yes,
mean
sir.
anything. Oh, you, Mr. Steele, thank you so much. He says freedom is not free and we are steadily taking it for granted. I agree. Thank you, Mr. Steele. So I have a question really quickly. There is a Mr. Pryor in the studio. Mr. Pryor, can I get you to give me a thumbs up? Please. Thank you so much. I will let you in. And thank you, Mr. Virgil. Oh, sorry, JR. Sorry about that. Mr. Virgil, I want to say thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the Canadian dollar. He says, to be fair, most Westerners aren't well traveled to even understand the consequences of their laziness, but it still doesn't justify the behavior. And this is why we have people who are from different countries trying to speak to the Americans, because a lot of Americans don't see what we see. They don't see the emergency. They believe that everything is okay and everything can just be talked about, and it's too much to go into. Mr. Pryor, welcome in. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. How are you?
Hi, Ameera. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. What do you have on the topic?
Uh, I don't think that we have that much to worry about in the United States as far as people trying to take money from, from the rich. I mean, we all understand that the game is going to be played the way it's going to be played. But we, as Americans, we don't tolerate bullying, not even from ourselves. So I don't understand why people think that it's such a big deal. Because you're not going to. If you was going to, they would have did it to Donald Trump. They can't do anything. Our system is set up in such a way that I hate to tell you, you ain't taking shit from nobody. Not here.
Well, I hate to break it to you, Mr. Pryor, they are. They are. And because you know how they're taking it. They're taking it by using daddy government, using the law, using the IRS, and people with guns that will come to your door and take whatever needs to be taken.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, the people with guns that's gonna come to your door are the people that was trained just like me, and that means that there are people out here that was trained like me that's not gonna tolerate that kind of misbehavior. We're just not.
Mr.
It's not gonna
Pryor,
happen.
Mr. Pryor, you have very optimistic thinking, and I want to bring up something to you to this point. Although you may say, I'm not going to let anything happen, I'm going to do what has to be done, you need to understand that your neighbors are the ones that are giving in and making it harder for people like you and myself who say that we will not bend and we will not let the government take whatever they want.
Amir,
There
I
are
think that
people who
there are
do.
more people that think like me than with the doomsday device type stuff. I think there are. I'm a blue collar worker. I'm not a white collar. I'm not into that agendizing. I don't do the propaganding and everything else. I clean water for a living. And before that, I was a Marine, Special Forces. There are more people that think like me and you than you think. I promise you, there are.
Well,
I
if
know
that were the
some of them.
case, if that were the case, Joe Biden would not be president. Sorry about that. Sorry,
Uh, uh,
JR.
uh,
Sorry,
uh,
JR. I'm sorry.
hold on, Amir. But we don't say anything. We don't need to talk about it. Look, real people that's about that, they don't talk about it because they already know that they can be a target of execution. They can be a target. So they don't say anything. But best believe we out here talking to each other. Promise you, we are.
Mr. Pryor, I would love to agree with you, but I can't. I can't. I just can't. As far as I am into the political scene, I see too much and I see that we are losing. And aside from that, I wanted to ask you this
Yeah.
regarding the topic, regarding the freedom to fail. What is your view on the ability to fail in this country? And do you believe that the government is aiding everyone in said failure by making the failure cushioned and soft regarding marriage, jobs, economy, anything? What do you see?
I see that we've softened the fall so much that they've fallen on feather beds. In other words, what I'm saying is that it's hard to bounce back when you don't feel the impact of you falling. You know
Mm,
what I mean?
mm,
And the reason why is because of I'm Generation X, so I was raised by you know by the I was raised by people that was from the baby boomer era,
mm.
and
I'm coming, JB. 1 second, JB.
well, hold on, we spoiled our kids, so they especially if you like more than six-figure earners, and a lot of people don't understand this, man. Most people that make really good money, most of them look like my ass. They don't, and they ain't beautiful like you, or is connected like your husband, or extremely, like Lapeef or Anton, and they ain't like that. They look like me. We quiet people, quiet millionaires, real quiet. We wear slides. All we wear is hoodies. We go to work.
Well, I can I offer a little bit of a plea.
Yes, ma'am.
I plead that people like yourself that are quiet need to be not quiet and stand up a little bit harder because what you are talking about and what we're talking about today about this freedom to fail is
Yeah.
getting worse every time a new bill is passed. Like I said, there's bills being passed talking about giving houses to the homeless, taking from the rich or taking from the middle class and giving to the people who are failing because that's the freedom to fail here. So,
Well, you know what? Here's the thing, though. The reason why is because the victim Olympics is real. So you got the community. I'm not going to say what they are, and then you got the C word. I'm not going to say what that is. But the thing is there are so many victimizing things that's going on between 2019 and 2021 that it's easy for them to propagandize what they're saying. They can say, "Oh, you know what? It would be better if this didn't happen." I've been tested 6 times for COVID. Oops, my bad. For the C word. Ain't
Hey,
happening.
you gotta watch that word. Come on,
I'm sorry,
Joseph. Come on,
boss. I'm
JP.
sorry, man. I'm
I knew that
sorry.
was going to happen. I knew JR was going to come through that.
I,
Came through
I'm
the.
Lapeef, man. My bad, bro. I'm sorry, man.
I knew that
I
was going to happen.
apologize. But you know what I'm saying? And the thing is I know people that have been, tested for the bug. Is that better? For the bug?
Yeah, it's better. Just
Okay.
don't use the words. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I won't. Tested for the bug, and I got a partner of mine that's an instrumentation engineer just like me. And guess what? This is his third bout. Third, 3 times.
That's
Come
well,
on, man.
Mr. Pryor. That's
I'm not
exactly what I'm
making it up.
talking about. I understand. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm gonna put you in the studio, but if you want to come back, I can bring you back right after. I have to get
Oh
another
no, you
person
can
on.
go and bang me out. I ain't gonna lie to you, Amir. I love you, man. You're awesome, and I love the Lapeef Network. Hey, Lapeef, my man's.
Thank you so much for the love. Thank you so much for the support. We appreciate you. And come see us down in Houston if you can. If you have time, come
Oh,
see us in
I
Houston.
am gonna definitely try to put that first foot forward. I got two sisters in Houston. I might
It's
bring
gonna
them
be
with me.
amazing. April 23rd. Don't forget.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Pryor. Have a good
Yes,
night.
ma'am.
All right. Thank you so much. That was an awesome call. Thank you. Hello, JB. Long time no see.
What's going on?
Nothing much. What's going on? Have you heard the topic today?
Yes, the freedom to fail.
The freedom of, yeah, the freedom to fail.
Yes, this is America. I love America. I'm for individual rights.
Yeah.
I'm for, the choice for you to make decisions, whether they're good or bad for your life. You suffer the consequences. But what I would say is there is a culture now of people who don't want to put in the work, who want handouts from the government,
Hmm.
especially within the last 2 to 3 years, because we've had this pandemic and we've
Hmm.
had so many different stimuluses, and people have been able to not pay their mortgage, their
Hmm.
rent.
Hmm.
They've been able, and we have like a great resignation right now of people just quitting their jobs. It's hard to fulfill roles.
Hmm.
Um, but right now it's wide open for economic opportunity in every sector, but it's so hard to fulfill roles because there's a culture now of I want more for less. People don't want to work past 8 hours. So that's where we're at right now. So, and plus on top of that, we have a lot of people who have student loan debt, took out debt
Well,
for
do you know that is speaking on a different issue. As for the kids in college, I mean that is a whole separate thing. But what I really want to speak on
but it is
is
kind
the
of like
middle class,
freedom
is
to
the middle
fail.
class and people who are okay with failing. You brought up a great point about how people are failing left and right, and you said that there's a culture of failure pretty much.
Right.
And this is what I'm trying to speak about today is that this culture of failing and being able to fail is something that's very unique to the West, to the Western world. People like me in our countries, we can't do that. We can't just put a tent outside and the government come and give us money for doing so, or to come and give us food stamps, or to the government doesn't help us. In America, you can fail and get help and get assistance for failing, which also makes the fall less harsh. It makes it feel like you're actually not really failing that bad because you're still getting help.
But I wouldn't
And
say
another thing about it, I know I'm gonna let you speak, Jay. I'm sorry. But the other part that I want to tell you about is that this also translates into relationships as well, because there's no consequences, there's no societal consequences for failing and being a failure in relationships or in your career paths. Go ahead.
yes. I wouldn't say the welfare system in terms of like handing out goodies to the citizens is unique to the West, but I would say it's pervasive in the West. I would say that, and to go back to like the student loan thing,
Well,
like
it
the
is
student,
actually very unique to many Western countries because I lived in many countries and you don't see this in other
well,
countries.
it's
There is no
social,
welfare.
it's socialism. So many other countries overseas have practiced this and have had failed states, have practiced various forms of socialism, communism. You, but after they have failed, now they're going towards more capitalistic free market societies. But there's many countries in the Middle East that give their pay for their citizens college, like places like
Yeah, but that's not the same as failing and then saying, okay, now give me money. That's not the same. Like, yes, countries, Middle Eastern countries, especially like Saudi, they'll send their kids to different countries and the government will pay for it. But that's not what we're talking about. And socialism, by the way, this push towards this S word that I don't want to say too much because it is kind of a triggering word. But
okay,
that point, that push towards this S word is what I'm talking about as well. Because if you notice in these kind of societies, they don't want people to be united. They want to separate families, have the government, especially the children, have more loyalty to daddy government than the parents. If you notice back in Germany, they had the children would snitch on the parents if the parents weren't being good revolutionaries or being
Right.
good, you know what I mean,
Right.
socialist members,
Right.
the parents would be snitched on by their own child because the children were more loyal to the government or the state. And that's what I see happening in this country now. I see the state is changing things to get children to make their own decisions. And this is also leading, like I said, relationships are being destroyed because of this. And this is exactly what they want. You're speaking about the culture. You spoke about it yourself.
Yes.
You see what I see, JB.
But
But I think we see it differently.
it's not completely black and white. Like there's certain instances where like you talking about mortgage home loans, predatory home loans, where people need bailout. You know, these people were bogus, but there are other instances where somebody just collecting a check, not paying their mortgage, their rent for a year, and just owes $30,000 to a landlord or to a mortgage company. That's a problem. Or somebody just quitting their job with no plan, no exit strategy, or somebody taking out a loan for a degree that makes no money without no stipulations attached to that loan. So those are some of like the things that I'm talking about. Plus, on top of the pandemic and everything that has happened, so it has ushered in a culture here in this country. But we are talking about government intervention in economics. We're talking about socialism, which has been practiced all over the world. It's not something that's unique to the West. So I would disagree.
No, I
with you
didn't
on
say
that.
that was unique to the West because clearly we have North Korea, which is not a
Right.
Western country, that's not what I said at all. But I do understand what you're saying as well. And it's crazy that we're actually agreeing a little bit because typically we disagree a lot. So this is kind of cool to actually agree with you a little bit. But
But I would say there is a
go ahead.
concerted effort to, I don't want to get all conspiracy theory, but there is a concerted effort to wipe out families,
That's that's my territory, right? Conspiracy
to
theories. But JR, if I do that, I'm gonna hear a lot
you
after
know,
we hang up. So I don't want to do that.
to get rid of, a lot of things like national origin, families, race, and just have everybody just devoted to the government. But that's, a different topic, a different day. But
I can't go there because the way that my
right.
contract is set up, I can't.
Okay, got you. But it was
The way
nice
that my
talking to
contract
you.
is set up, I can't.
Right.
I swore to JR I wouldn't, so no. But
Cool.
thank you so much, JB. Thank you so much. I'm gonna get Mr. Steele on here. Thank
All right, no
you.
problem. Yep.
Okay,
Thank
bye
you. Bye.
bye. JR, I'm trying. I am trying. I swear. Like I read my contract every other night and I make sure that I read it through and I know what I can't do. I have been really trying. Hello, Mr. Steele.
Hello, how you doing?
Good, thank you so much. How's your weekend?
My weekend has been pretty good, even though I spend most of the time trying to stay warm from this cold weather we have.
And have you been successful?
Most part, yeah.
Thank you. So what do you think about what I'm saying? What do you think about the freedom to fail in this country? And do you believe that this is one of the roots of the problems that we have in this country is that there's no consequences for failure here?
Well, it's like at the beginning, America was founded on the idea of, freedom, no rule, but no balance. And, it was becoming a good thing. But then somewhere on down the line, we're starting to see more and more of how freedom, and the way we have taken it for granted, starting to rip it apart a little bit. And I can give you a good example of this.
Okay.
We are living under a pandemic. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
be careful with words.
I am very careful.
Okay.
Very careful. And they're telling us how we could, get away from this disease, this pandemic, giving us mandates, giving us jab requirements, and things like that. Okay. And I want to be free of the disease. I want to take these things, but with the freedom that we have, some people decided against these things, and it ends up basically killing us at the end. And the other freedoms that we have, we barely have them because this pandemic, because of the risk of this pandemic, and now there are now there are people who pretend, or they're out there like this pandemic doesn't exist, but unfortunately it is. And this is just one example of how we have taken this freedom that people has fought and died for granted.
Mr. Steele, I hope I don't, get too off topic here, but since you brought it up, what do you see when you see America is supposed to be a free country? We are supposed to be a country of laws and rights, laws and rights. Mm-hmm. In this country, we have always been free to make our own decisions regarding our health and so on and so forth. Do you see that there is a correlation with our freedoms being trampled upon, and our rights being violated when it comes down to certain mandates that are being placed? Do you see anything that I see? Because I don't know if you've heard me talk often, but do you see anything that I see?
I see somewhat of a correlation, and I'm not talking about just this pandemic, like freedom of speech, for example. And yes, it's great, to tell people what you think, mm-hmm. and anything like that.
Okay.
But sometimes saying what you think can really have ill, effects on others. And that's when things really get blurry.
So wait, so you're talking about having the freedom to say what you want, but if it affects others, you said it gets blurry. In what way? What do you mean? Do you mean like hateful speaking? Do you mean that they shouldn't be allowed to say certain things because it's harmful to other people?
Yeah. And your words can be harmful to other people.
Mm-hmm.
But again, this country is set up to where everybody can say what they want. Just like all the content creators I've listened to, or the content creators I don't listen to, mm-hmm. Have the right to say what they want to say. Mm-hmm. But it's always a side effect to it. Which is what I'm trying to say. There's a side effect to everything.
So do you believe that they should be restricted in what they're able to say because of the effect that it has on other people?
You know what? I mean, that's a good question. I really do not know. Because, if we want to restrict people, who say the wrong things, we're also talking about restricting people who are saying the right things as well. It's everybody or nobody. So I don't even know.
Okay, I hear you, Mr. Steele, and I have to respectfully disagree there, because I want to tell you something. When we're talking about the freedom in this country, and I talk about the freedom to fail and so on and so forth, when we're speaking about free speech, you do have the freedom to say what you want, because words are just words. And just like the old saying goes, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. So when you have people trying to restrict the words that are being able to be spoken, I see a huge problem in that. No matter how offended one may be, no matter how much it may hurt you emotionally, no one should be restricted in what they can say. What you do, however, is different. Now, of course, restrictions on actions is different. People have argued that there is a such thing as hate speech, and hate speech is nonsense, because who determines what is hate speech and what is not? Right. Who determines how one person should be silenced and another one shouldn't? Who is going to be the determinator of this? And will it be fair? It will not. It will all be subjective. And all those people who are asking for this hate speech to be restricted are going to later get restricted themselves if they say something that another person doesn't like. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it does. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So I would argue that I would hope that you would change your opinion on that a little bit and understand that speech is a very important thing and it should never be restricted no matter what, even if it is hateful, even if someone says something you do not like. The only time that your speech should be restricted is if you are calling for violence. If you are making a call for violence, that should be restricted and that should be punished. Or if you are calling for fire in a crowded theater, which is, very it's well known that you're not supposed to do that. That is something that should be restricted because that will lead to violence, of course.
Yeah.
However, everything other than that should not be restricted. I hope you change your opinion on that.
Well, I do, agree with what you're saying there about, speech about, violence or, what have you. Um, Hold on for a second. Okay.
I'll bring it back in a second then.
All right. Sorry about that.
So guys, when I hear things like that, and I don't know how many people agree with that statement. I don't know how many people agree that we should have restrictions on speech because some speech is harmful or some people get offended or I've seen it argued that people have deleted themselves because of mean speech online. People have deleted themselves because they were told mean things and they just couldn't take it anymore, so they deleted themselves. And the person that was saying all these names would be blamed for said person deleting themselves. Does that make sense? This is horrific. This is horrific to think that we have to be so weak. We're so weak that, if a person cannot handle being told mean things, that has to deal with that person and that person's inability to survive as a normal human being. There used to be a saying when we were younger, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. What happened to us? What happened to us that we got so soft that we can't handle words? Am I wrong? I'm looking at your text. Am I wrong? It's just words, says Rob. Rob says it's just words. It's nonsense. Somebody said tell people about themselves. Some people cannot handle it. Some people, look, these are the people who are calling for restrictions because sometimes you're telling the truth, and even the truth will cause a person to lose their mind. You guys, I'm so glad we're speaking about this because freedom is not free. Freedom is not free. And a lot of us know this, but a lot of people don't, especially people who are immigrants to this country. We know that freedom is not free. You have to fight, and the freedom tree has to be watered every now and again. And if you guys know the saying, you guys know what I'm talking about. The freedom tree has to be watered every now and again to keep us free. Mr. Steele, are you done with your phone call?
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
done with it.
All
Yeah.
right. So my next question to you is this. When we talk about relationships in this country, have you noticed that there is no consequence to failure in relationships? That society does not do anything to shame, to maybe influence a person to, go the right path? That society, there's no societal balance to our freedom that we have here. What do you think about this? Or do you think that I'm crazy?
No. I don't think you're crazy. I think you're actually right to the point. And this is something I've always noticed. For so many years, there is no consequence for not, being in a relationship. There's no consequence for not being married. I mean, there's no consequence for anything. I mean, um, right now we have a lot of people in the younger generation who's not getting married at all, and also and think of my people, black people in particularly. There's actually this rift, between the two. Well, the sort of rift between the two genders, and there's no, let's say, written consequence for it, but there could be a physical consequence for it, but not a physical.
Like what?
Well, a physical consequence can be, well, if people don't marry, we don't grow, we don't multiply. or it slows down a little bit. That's a physical consequence, but no written consequence or no emotional consequence. Just
Well, we have seen, Mr. Steele, that that's not the case. That even though people aren't marrying, people are still producing children.
oh
And
yeah,
the result, the actual result that we're having is a world with a lot of confused children, children that are not succeeding like other children would succeed with the two-parent household. We're seeing children that grow up to think that this is the normal and that they repeat the behavior of their parents. So we are facing, let me ask you this. Since we're talking about the children growing up in this world like this and the consequences, do you think that it is wrong for me as a woman, as a married woman who has grown up traditional, married the traditional way, everything that has happened in my life has been the traditional way, person like me who's requesting that the world return to traditional ways, am I doing this in vain because the world is just not the same as it used to be and we will never go back to that world again? Is it me that needs to adapt to the new world, to the new style of relationships?
mm-mm, mm-mm. And believe me, Ameera, you are not the only one who would like for the world to be back in the traditional. I've watched a lot of people uh, who want the world to go back to the traditional ways of marriage and relationship. I know I'd want it.
Mm.
So believe me, you are not crazy at all.
Mr. Steele, are you married?
No,
Is there a reason why?
you know, you know, I've been trying to find a reason. I've been in 4 relationships and they have not turned out, very good. And when I'm looking, I could not, really find, who I really want, to marry. But, I'm still, working on it because now, as a man, I mean, it's starting to really take its emotional, toll on me. So this is one thing I'm working for. It's not because of outside consequences or anything. It's just, a me thing, really.
So you said you're having emotional consequences not being married at this stage in life. Can you, I want to ask you this in a very respectful way, but can you kind of lay what's happening right now that you are feeling that you should have had a marriage? What's happening to you now that's different, that is making you think that you should have had a marriage?
Well, I think the thing that happened to me, in particularly, is while I was in this relationship, I did not know what I was actually doing. I did not understand, really what my, roles in a relationship were. I was just taking, you know, anybody, yeah, being alone, taking anybody that would come my way. And, I found out, I've learned, it doesn't work. So, if I want to get into any relationship, let alone a marriage, um, I want to be with somebody that, you know, I want, somebody that I manifest to be, or at least close to it, because I know nobody's going to be perfect.
Mr. Steele, sorry, Mr. Steele, you have, um, I want to see, there's something that I want to say, but I don't think it's appropriate for me to say it because I'm a woman, but I can work my way around it and maybe ask you so I can get you to say it. I want to ask you, why, okay, because you have, I want to
Just
do this
say it,
properly.
Amira.
I don't want to say it
Go ahead.
improperly, okay? Give me a second. Have you, God, please don't be offended. Please don't be offended.
Okay.
Have you lived life like a beta?
Like a
Ooh,
bear?
Like a beta before?
ooh.
And is there something there? That's what I'm asking. I know
Like
I
a
feel so weird asking that, but I can't say it this way because I don't I don't want to use that term because the term is very offensive. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say, have you lived life more
More like a
emotionally
hermit, basically.
emotionally connected to a woman that it's I can't I don't even know how to describe the question without sounding offensive. I'm so sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. That's okay.
Has it, do you know what I mean? Has it been that women have been, I don't think I'm going to be able to even ask it. Guys, don't laugh at me. This is not funny. I'm trying to say the proper way, but I'm not finding it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Mr. Pryor, do you have a way that I can ask the questions, or do you understand what's going on here, or do you have something
No,
else to add?
no, I understand. Mr. Steele, what she's
yes.
trying to say is, did you, live a part of your life where you considered yourself secondary to the women that you were dealing with? Is what
Thank you.
she's trying to say.
Thank you. Thank you. There it is.
Secondary.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, they were first. They were more important than what you wanted.
Well, I know my first couple of relationships, I did feel that way.
Okay.
Well, actually, in all my relationships, I actually felt that way.
Me too, bro. Me too. Hold on. I
Yeah,
feel
I actually felt that way at first, but after the fourth one, I sort of figured out, something wasn't right, and I wasn't really sure what it was. So I think a few years after the first relationship is when I actually started watching these content creators. And, after watching these content creators, but now, things are starting to make sense. So now I'm looking for an opportunity to uh, um, apply that knowledge to somebody.
Okay, then thank you. That's what I wanted to say, and that's why I didn't want to come off
Hey,
disrespectful. And
Ameera, can I
I
say
hope you didn't
something?
take that way. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Of course.
Hey, Mr. Steele, you already know, since me and you both are older gentlemen and everything else, that if you ain't good, ain't nobody good that you're trying to take care of, right?
Right.
That's all I wanted to make sure that me and you share that information, because sometimes you need to step back and make sure you okay.
No,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
kids.
Stop.
You guys. I told the kids. I said, "Leave me, let me be," and they're
No,
at the door. I can hear them
babies
breathe.
don't leave alone. I'm sorry. I'm 51 years old, and my kids are they grown. They don't care.
I can hear them breathing at the door. I can hear you.
Believe it or not, Mr. Pryor,
Go.
your age as well.
They're breathing at the door.
Whatever. Your babies are gonna be your babies 5 evers, not 4. They
So,
just are.
someone had asked something about the definition of freedom. Here, let me pull it up. So I want to ask even the panel here. He says, "Have we got a good definition of freedom?" I want you, because of the topic that we're speaking about today, about freedom, the freedom to fail, the freedom to succeed. What do you define as freedom, and do you see it in the same way? Because maybe we see it differently. Feel free, whichever one wants to answer. By the way, you guys look like brothers. I just want to let you guys know you guys look like brothers. You do. So, but what is your definition of freedom?
The ability to sell your soul to make sure that everything that you care about is gonna be good, so they don't have to do the same shit you did.
Sell your soul.
Of
Um,
course.
sir, sell your soul to
Yes,
whom?
ma'am. Yeah. Yeah. You understand that when you join the military, you do things that has a large moral gray area. I mean, for the real military people, they know what I'm talking about. You can ask them. So
Ah,
there's a concession of selling your soul a little bit, not a lot. You ain't selling your whole soul, but it's currency.
okay.
You
Okay
make
then.
decisions, and once you make those decisions, you live with them. That's the reason why they have PTSD. That's the
Mhm.
reason why they have people that self delete.
Okay.
That's all I meant by that. I was not trying to get all that specific about it. But you'll
Okay.
be surprised how many people that have to do things for their country to make sure it's okay.
Mhm.
And then they got to live with that shit once they leave.
Yeah. Mr. Steele, what is your definition of freedom?
My definition of freedom is basically thinking what you want, saying what you want, and doing what you want without affecting others around you,
Without affecting others.
Yes.
or at least uh, hurting others.
Making it less impactful as possible. I agree with you, sir.
Okay, I see two different definitions here, and I understand both of them. I understand both of them completely. The one that I want to push back on a little bit is the not affecting others and so on, because the way that I see freedom is, well, actually, you know what? That does make sense, because there is a saying that says your freedom stops where mine begins. Does that make sense? Like,
Yep.
Where our freedoms meet is where each one of our freedoms ends, right? So
Yep.
I guess that does make sense in a way. Freedom to a person like me, as an Easterner, especially coming to the West, is the freedom to believe, think, feel, enjoy, suffer. You have the freedom to not freedom. You have the ability to do as you please, to win, to fail, to
You have the ability to
suffer, to
exercise
everything.
all of those feelings.
All
You
of
have
those
the
feelings.
ability to exercise all of those feelings without repercussions, maybe some opinions, but you have it. Like you said, man, I agree with you. And that's the reason why I don't understand when I said, you sell your soul a little bit. You do. You
Mr.
do. I'm saying
Pryor.
you do, girlfriend. You do. I swear to
Mr.
God, you do.
Pryor.
A
Mr.
little bit.
Pryor. Respectfully, I can't get over the selling my soul thing. There's an echo. Where's the echo coming from?
It's not for me. I don't have anything on except for
I
my
don't know
phone.
where that wasn't there before. Right. Maybe if I hold on, let me see if I can hold on one second. Let me see if I mute this. Okay, is it still there? No, it's gone now. Okay,
It's
so
coming
it was
from Joseph microphone.
no, it was from Mr. Steele's phone. Mr. Steele.
Yes.
Yeah, because when I muted Mr. Steele, then it went away. Okay.
Yeah, because
So
I don't have anything on but my phone, Lapeef. My bad, man.
okay, so yeah, I think actually JR is right. Okay, let me see. Okay, there it is. Yeah, you're right. You're right, JR. You were right. It is Mr. Pryor. Yeah, it was Mr. Pryor. Okay, see, JR is always right. He's always right. Okay, so my last question to you all is this. When we're talking about the freedoms that we have in this country and we see the state of relationships and marriages in this country, what do you think is the effect that having too much freedom is on the marriage rates, the divorce rates, the current culture that we see, the women that we see, the men that we see? Because I see a lot of women becoming very masculine, a lot of men becoming very feminine. I don't know if that has anything to do with the freedom that we have or not. Do you think that we have too much freedom to succeed and to fail, or are we too restricted in a way? Because a lot of people are saying we are not equal, we are restricted. What are your views on this? Oh, let me unmute you 1 second. Okay.
I don't think we exercise it correctly. I think that the freedoms that we have is loud and boisterous, and I don't think we exercise it correctly. I just don't. I mean, you got these freedoms, and you got the ability to be able to hone in on what you want to talk about, but we don't exercise it correctly. So now here we go. Um, you got an opinion that might be biased, but you don't deliver it respectfully. And then you got women that have an opinion that might not be, on the same truth that most people, and
Mr. Pryor, you think that
it's
leads
okay to
to
exercise narrative. All I'm saying is that if you do, you need to be respectful enough and then, pay attention to the people that's in the crowd that's listening.
Mr. Pryor, you think that leads to what we're having now because of
Hello?
the inability to be respectful? So it's not the freedom, it's the respect factor. And I'm asking you guys really quickly, I'm asking the pair of you this for a reason. Because you two are, I believe, Generation X. Both of you are like Generation X. So I can soak up a lot of wisdom from the pair of you, and so can the chat, because a lot of us here are young. So we can soak up a lot of information from what you have seen throughout the years, what you have seen throughout your experience, rather that we don't have. As a lot of us young people here, we don't have this experience. So this is why I'm asking you, what is it that you see?
I see the whole family structure being messed up. The consequences are, like you said, um, you know, women, having babies out of wedlock, and you see the effects of it. Um, men, running away from women. We're seeing uh, um, um, a change between masculinity and femininity between both of us. A lot of things are different than how Mr. Pryor and I came up. I can remember back in the days where parents would sit with their children and talk about the birds and the bees, and things like that. But now, I think from my impression of what we're seeing today, not very many parents are doing that. And as a result, some of us are, abusing, those abilities or what have you, to have, to have unprotected, what, and, um, nobody's taking accountability. And again, you know, the main thing is the family structure just messed up. That's really what I see.
Mr. Steele, can I be completely transparent with you?
Yes.
I'm going to be very transparent with you. I see something when you speak. I see something different, because when you speak with an optimism that a lot of us don't have in today's world. You speak with kind of, I believe, because maybe you grew up in a different time, that you see situations differently, which I appreciate very much. But as we see today, when we speak to, think about Anton. Let's take Anton for example. I mean, like Anton, when he hears what you say and you speak about these things about, parents talking with their children about the birds and the bees and how women were different and so on. A man like Anton, and I believe Anton is he Generation X too? I don't know. But a man like Anton, he has a more modern thinking. Like, he thinks about situations that are happening right now. He doesn't think with the more romantic uh, ways. A man like Anton will say things like, this is not that optimistic. F your feelings. Women today are this or that. And when I hear you speak, I hear something completely opposite. I hear you speaking more in a romanticized way about these things. And I think this also just becomes, oh, thank you, Lawrence. So he said, yeah, he is Gen Z too. No, Gen Z is young. No, Gen Z is in the 20s. That's my age. That's not. So this is why I'm speaking with you, and I hear you speak, and I hear such optimism. I don't know. Do you guys see what I see in the chat? Are you guys hearing what I hear? Jojo said Anton is an old millennial. Oh, possibly. But Mr. Steele, when I hear you speak, this is what I hear. And that's why I want to be very transparent with you. I hear different views. And this is why I think a lot of men from before were raised to treat women differently. The men that we see today don't speak like you, and they don't have this romanticized way of talking. They are very much, they speak about women as if women are what they are, essentially. I mean, like, women have no heart, women have no feelings, women will just use and abuse you, and so on and so forth, which is true. I wonder, the women in your time, were they this way too? I understand that they got more masculine, but were they the same kind of using their femininity to get what they want, or were they more honest in their behaviors and actions?
they were not to the extreme that today's women are today. However, the women I experienced were somewhat uncharacteristic in a way. I had one woman who was big but submissive. I had one woman who just basically just fantasizes about everything, believe that don't want to believe in the reality of relationships, instead of wanting me to, well, basically to express love when I'm already with her, and she knows that I'm not ignoring her, but one wanted me to do something extra. There was one.
You see, Mr. Steele, even the chat, even the chat, you see how they're speaking. See, this is why I tell you, it's such a different world. The way that men speak about women today is so different. Mr. King, I see you in the studio. Can I get you to give me a thumbs up and then I'll let you in? Thank you. Thank you. I know it sounds so silly, guys, but we have to do it. You're lucky I didn't make you do jumping jacks. But we have to do this because of what's going on in today's internet.
Ameera, I'll do push-ups for you anytime you want.
Thank you, Mr. Pryor. Thank you, Mr. Pryor. I'm gonna start doing that. When it's a man, you got to do jumping jacks.
Oh, okay.
Hello, Mr. King. Do you want to add anything to the conversation?
No. You know what? I just think it's Sorry, I'm from the UK. It's like 3 a.m. right now. Yeah, I've got a job in the morning, so I'm just there's no point in me going to sleep now, but prepare. But I was listening to the two gentlemen speaking, and I just found it invaluable, to be honest with you. It's very rare that you get an opportunity to speak to the older generation. I think that is one of the biggest issues amongst us all. There's a little bit of a disconnect. We rarely get old. No. Sorry. What I should have said, wise, man. I should have said wise, and I don't see why.
You can call me old, brother. I'm proud
I
to
see
be this
platinum
age.
hair, bro.
No, bro, I'm
trying
proud.
to get some of that.
I'm proud, baby. I'm proud.
Good man. So you should be, for sure. I won't be dyeing mine when it comes. I'll be wearing it proudly. But the issue that I see a lot is there's a big disconnect. It seems like society has really taken a hold of our households. I'm quite fortunate in the fact that I grew up with my parents, both of my parents. They're still together till this day. So I never left my household, despite me not always agreeing with how the relationship was going between my mum and dad. That was not really my business, and that's how it was. I was a child, they were the adults in it. So I only have that really to go on. I wasn't someone that was constantly watching television.
I want to get a glass of wine, Ameera.
Oh gosh. And what I definitely do notice amongst my peers, whether they be in the workplace, even just like kind of listening to conversations, staying out of it, just listening to general conversation, people seem to just be shifting to this narrative. And within the workplace, especially since the whole Me Too movement started and feminism was ramped up the way it was, it changed the whole demographic in those workspaces. You could see more disconnect. So it wasn't just between old and young, it was between men and women. It seemed like every single week there was a reason to hate the person that's sitting right next to you. So I just stopped watching the news and television and all of that.
Mr. King, I want to ask you, since it is a rare opportunity that we do get to speak with people older than our generations, what would be a question that you would have for Mr. Steele or Mr. Pryor that you would be curious in, and the differences between today's women and relationships versus in the time that maybe Mr. Pryor, Mr. Steele remember?
Okay. I mean, I did a lot of research. Being a proud Black man, I've done plenty of research in regards to how things were for us as a people, especially in the States, because unfortunately, we don't really have a lot of history to go over in this country. There's not as much, and it's not as readily available. So what I definitely do know is that when Black people were left alone, we excelled in every area. The moment integration happened, the moment, you know, the household was looked at. The moment we became, you know, the magnifying glass on the political map, that is when things started to change. Every reform that came out was almost perfect to break us up. So now we had our women who were being told basically that, you know what, not in so many words, but it was quite clear and obvious to see that, you know, they would be in a better position for themselves personally, individually, almost selfishly, yeah, if they were to get rid of their husband for whatever reason, whether it's justifiable or not, you know, they get rewarded for that. Governments here and there will almost reward them. They get paid extra money. They get the yard with the I have to work hard for. They get given that. Yeah.
Mr.
So
King,
all of the things that, yeah, go ahead.
Mr. King, one moment. I just want to get 3 people to give me some interaction before I let you guys in.
Okay.
Mr. Wynn, can I get you to give me 3 push-ups? Mr. Definite G, I need you to do 5 jumping jacks. And Wesley, can you please do 5 pull-ups? Just really quickly, guys. Let's get moving. I'm joking. Everybody, give me a thumbs up, please. That's it. Okay. There you go. Oh my God, I got people.
They got the shirt coming off.
I know. There you
go.
Oh,
sorry. No. Sorry, it's just a bit warm in here. Sorry, my bad. No one sees nothing. I won't do that.
You're about to go to town there, man.
That's what I thought.
No chance.
Okay, feel free to continue, Mr. King.
You're like, oh, bloody colonists.
No, you know what? I think it's beautiful sometimes, you know, just to see other people from other places having the exact same views. It kind of rubber stamps what we thought in the first place. You know, when you do your research, you can cross-reference with other people from across the globe. Really, what I would really want to know from you two is, what do you think are the main factors that have attacked our households, and is there any way back, in your opinion?
Are you asking me or the elders? Because I think that's a better question for the elders.
Yeah. The two. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think the elders should answer first.
Yes.
Mr. Pryor, Mr. Steele. Mr. Pryor, Mrs. Steele, do either of you have an answer for that?
Well, I'm not for sure, you know, about, you know, relationships, but I did know there was a divide, seemed to be a divide, you know, among, you know, Black people. I can remember, you know, when I was in high school, I was, you know, in my Algebra 2 class, I was one of only 2 Black students in that class. And, you know, I was actually the top of that class, but yet I keep getting these strange look from the other Black person that was in the class. And that was and I think that was an indicator of something, because I can remember when I was succeeding, you know, I get, you know, hated on by some other Black people because, you know, I was successful, and, you know, for some reason I found that very weird at that time. So I think this was really the only instance I remember. I don't know about again, relationships or ever, but yeah, there's been a divide, you know, among Black people.
Okay.
Mr. Pryor? Oh, 1 second. I'm sorry, Mr. Pryor. Please hold while I try your extension. There we go. Okay, go ahead.
My thing was between 1963 and 1968. I was born in 1970. You had you know, the movement. People was doing drugs, PCP. You had the colleges going crazy and everything, free love, free everything, age of Aquarius, and then, you know, also on top of that, you had the women's movement, and then you had you know, the Black Party movement at the time, and that was when Huey Newton and all the rest of them was doing what they were doing in California. All this happened at the same time. My thing is that the women's movement took over the Black Power movement and then made it their own, and we never took it back. So the situation is where everything went wrong is when we never took it back. So it was what it was. So now here's the thing: people don't understand. So black men never did anything. White women were blaming white men. Black men ain't do shit. We weren't in charge of nothing. And all of a sudden, white women then convinced black women in 1968 that you got the same problems with your man that we got with yours, that we got with ours. And you want me to keep going? Because I can escalate 1980 crack. I can do this Reaganomics. I can do this all day because I'm 51 and I was there. I saw this shit.
No, Mr. Pryor, I think that's good enough. I want to see if Mr. Wynn can contribute a little bit. Do you have anything, Mr. Wynn?
Yeah, so to give us a little bit of context, I want to give like my definition of freedom, right? The definition of freedom to me is just freedom is the truest expression of every moment, right? It's like the ability to freely express yourself at any point, right? So like what I mean by this is like the things that you want to say that you should have said, right? Stuff like that. So I think if we start to express ourselves a little bit more freely, we can get back to where we need to be. And I understand what Mr. Pryor's talking about because I researched that stuff a lot, and it has impacted our society in this place as Black people in America. To take it a step further, the Black Lives Matter movement was hijacked by women, and it became a letter community, problem.
Was it hijacked or was it created by women?
I mean, it could have been created by them, but here's what I'm saying. The reason that they were protesting was for the lives of Black men being killed by police, right? That's what it started out as, right? So it started out as something about the men, and then it became about the letter community. Because if you go to their website and you read their mission statement, it was about protecting the rights of women and other people in the letter community. They never mentioned on their website that it was about.
Go to their website now. They sound like they retarded.
They changed it. Definite G. I see you.
I'm not trying to be a dick about it, bro, but they sound like they absolutely, like, literally, bro.
Mr. Pryor, one second. Sorry. Definite G, I see you in the studio. I'm gonna bring you up in just 1 second, okay?
I'm sorry, Win, man. I'm sorry.
You're good.
No, but you guys see the Black Lives Matter movement, right? Now, we're talking about real freedom, okay? Now, this is the freedom that I wanted to get on too, because you see that we have a movement that was started by two lesbian women, and they started it, and their mission statement from the beginning was Marxism. They came out as trained Marxists, and I understand that the original mission was, they said that it was to defend the Black men that were victims of police brutality. But I think they were also pushing something else the whole time. Now that's
Ameera, can I ask you a question right quick?
Yeah,
sure. I know. Look, so it started off with Marxism, but as soon as they started making $90, $100 million, it sounded like capitalism to me. And I'll leave it up there, and you can tell me what you think.
They started buying houses and villas, and I
don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, man. I might be crazy. I might be a little crazy.
That's the freedom. You have the freedom to be a hypocrite in this country as well. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Wesley, what do you have on the topic, Wesley?
Marcus, when you my man's in there, bro.
No.
Well, I noticed the topic kind of strays back and forth there. Do we have like a baseline question to go off of?
Freedom. What is freedom? And do you think that freedom is having the amount of freedom that we have in the West is harming or helping us?
Well, freedom comes in flavors. Everybody has a different way of trying to define it. The way the Western world, the New World, recreated the concept of freedom, it's been an overall good for the majority of the world. And lots of people like to point out all the failures. Well, there's always going to be corruption somewhere. What people don't understand, wherever there are humans, there will be corruption because all of our systems are based off of humans. And it's up to everyone else to, fight that corruption. Eventually that corruption collapses in upon itself. Good examples of that is Bolshevik Revolution, early 1900s, Russia, and then you have a collapsing of the Soviet Union, or Venezuela. Not too long ago, corruption will collapse in upon itself. Freedom allows you to build something, because when you're given the option to build something, well, you have to give half of it to a governing body that didn't actually help you build it. You're like, well, why should I build this in the first place?
No.
Does that make any sense? But if you were given the option to keep everything that you have built, you're like, oh my goodness, I'm just going to keep building, because I don't have to give it to people that didn't earn it. I don't have to give my hard work to someone else. I can work for myself.
Welcome to the United States, because they're going to take it if they can.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's working as well as they planned out, but that's not what the conversation is tonight. So,
no, boss, I'm just throwing it out there.
No.
I'm not challenging you, man. I'm just saying it is what it is.
No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm just trying not to take this too far off the rails.
And I'm trying to make sure that you're not taking it personal. So I apologize.
You're gonna have to try harder. Try harder. Come on, let's do this.
Like
not gonna happen, bro. Not gonna happen.
Wesley comes in trying to start stuff. Wesley, can you stop? He just comes in.
Man, come on, bro. I don't even know you like that, man. But it is what it is, and you already know the strong, the weak. Come on, man.
He said the strong, the weak.
Come on, man. I'm not trying to be a dick about it, but come on, man. Come on, bro.
Just got a glass of Chardonnay helping you out with it.
Oh, you see my glass of Chardonnay?
We can see it, Mr. Pryor. Definitely.
I apologize. Let me go and set that down.
Definite G. What do you have on the topic? What do you think is freedom? And do you think that the freedom that we have in the West is helping or hindering us?
My man.
Can you?
Don't be scared.
Okay. I don't know if he's. Definite G, are you there? Can you hear us? Okay. I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry.
I have some issues.
No, but the reason I can't, I don't know if I can trust, because we've had trolls try to do stuff with us before, so I don't know. Definitely, you have to speak. If we're speaking to you, you gotta say something.
Yeah, I remember that, and I'm not gonna lie to you, Ameera. I was sickening. It was sickening to see what happened to you, and I'm not gonna lie to you. Whoever did that to you, they are a piece of shit.
It broke my heart, Mr. Pryor, but thank God we came back better than ever. So
all I'm saying is that when I saw that, because I've been watching Lapeef Network for a year, and everybody they introduced to the program I've been watching. I watch you, I watched the Millionaire program, I watch all y'all. That was bullshit. For real, serious as out attack, and I just want to make my feelings known about it. Whoever the fuck that was, I hope something bad happens to them.
Hey, I will say this. This is not my first time seeing something like this at all. I mean, it happened on another channel, and then it happened on another channel after the situation on Lapeef. So, yeah, you're going to. I mean, content creators are watching out for this, because it's been happening.
The audience is saying Definite G is legit. I understand that Definite G, the real Definite G, has been on this channel before. But what we have been seeing is people copying people's accounts, copying the names, and taking like little short clips of them and posting it as if it was them.
When King, man.
It's getting really bad. It's getting really bad. That's why Mr. Pryor, 1 second. It's getting really bad. So we have to get to the point where we have to get automatic response. And to be honest, when I asked everyone to give a thumbs up, he was the only one who didn't give a thumbs up. But I still let him in because we know him. But you guys see how he was acting? He was very strange. I don't think that was actually him. So, and he did disappear. As soon as I asked him to confirm himself, he disappeared. So I do not believe that was
Miss
him.
Ameera, all I'm saying is it's still West Wind King. We need to make sure we hold her down, because she's speaking the truth. Whether we agree with it or not, she's still talking some truth. So we need to hold her down. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pryor. And even the audience is saying that they know that it wasn't him, because they're saying that he wasn't okay. And it's Yeah, guys. So I don't know. I guess my last question to you guys before we wrap up here is, what do you see that we can do with this? So we cannot change how much freedom we have in this country. The freedom that we have is going to be here. It's going to stay. But what can we do to, as a society, to fix the problems that we have? Because my solution was, now you guys hear me out and tell me if I'm wrong. My solution was that we as a society put balance to the freedom that we have. So maybe creating more consequences for the bad behaviors that we see, not allowing people to feel comfortable in failing, not allowing failure to be something normal or seen as, oh, it's okay. That's my solution. What are yours?
Well, I want to start by saying, yeah, to bring balance, but also to educate others about the consequences, educate others about what we're doing. I know there's these Israelite groups that are out there in the streets, doing exactly that too. And also,
thank you, definitely. Thank you. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah. And also more YouTube shows like this, especially all the content creators that I listen to, King Talk on this network.
Yeah.
We're seeing more and more of those, and that could be very helpful. Education's the key here.
So your response is education. Anybody else?
I think we need to lead by example, because there's a lot of people talking the talk. And unfortunately, half of the people that are talking the talk on a lot of these platforms, you can see that they've got PTSD from their last relationship.
Wow.
I'm not even joking. I mean, men and women. I can see it in them.
Yeah.
They can say all the words they want. Their body language is going to say something else.
Yeah.
You can say what you want to say to me. Your body language is going to tell me the truth. Do you understand what I'm saying? So my thing is this, isn't it? I'm watching people's faces when they're talking about the women, or when they're talking about relationships. I'm looking at your face, innit? I'm listening to what you're saying, how you're saying it, how someone would deal with you in a room. So my thing is, all we can really do is lead by example. Like, sort your own life out, maybe try and get yourself married or whatever, be in your long-standing relationship. Understand that it's going to be hard work here. It's not going to be a walk in a park. Make sure that quitting is not an option. And then when you're doing that, then come talk to me. Then come and give out advice. I'll listen all day long. But until that happens, you're just somebody else that would listen to a video for 10 minutes and now you're expert on relationships, but you don't have one though. I'm sorry.
You bring up such a good point, Mr. King. You bring up such a good point, because a lot of us, you're right, I've seen even a lot of content creators speaking about this, and instead of actually focusing on their life and doing it, they're speaking and telling other people what to do, when the best thing that you could do is do it, so then others can see you. And then they can hear you. And when you actually speak about the experiences, they can believe you and understand that you've been through it and But if you're right, that is such a good point, because how can we believe other people who haven't been through it? They don't even know what, they have an idea and they have read books possibly, or they've seen it, but they haven't been through it. So that is such a good point. That is a really good point.
I think the next thing that we can do is we need to have a shift in our awareness. And I talked about this on the show with JB, but we got to stop looking at things in half, right? I think we've been conditioned as a society to look at things in half. Either you're Republican or Democrat, or whatever religion that you're in, or whatever it is in life, you're taught to look at things in half and not really pay attention and listen to the other side. I think that in order for us to really move forward as a society, we have to look at the whole thing, right? We have to look at Republican and Democrat together and see what it actually is and what's actually happening. You know what I'm saying? In all areas of our life. And that's not an easy thing to do, right? But it has to be done if we're going to get to somewhere new, because what we have been doing for the past 100 years is clearly not working, right? It's clearly falling apart. So if we can start looking at things in whole instead of half, I think that will get us somewhere better.
Thank you, Mr. Wynn. And I see somebody commenting saying that it's ironic of Ameera to say that in a Black space. This isn't a Black space. This isn't a Black platform. We have many people of different races on this platform. So
I hate to tell you, but most of our asses is high yellows. So the fuck.
Well, and another thing is that I speak
I'm
on
not trying to
marriage.
be funny, King. Seriously.
And
I mean, bro. I mean, my bad. I'm sorry, baby.
Mr. Pryor, 1 second. Please give me 1 second, Mr. Pryor. Oh my God, Mr. Pryor is ready to go off. Mr. Pryor, 1 second. But no, what I'm saying is we're talking about it being a black space. First of all, it's not a black space. Second of all, I speak about marriage and society and life, and that's something that I live. I am a married woman speaking on marriage. So to say it's ironic for me to speak about it, it's not ironic at all because I live the life that I'm talking about. So
and this is one thing I really admire about you and basically all the other content creators that I listen to. I mean, they're all authentic, they're all transparent. That's what make me believe.
But yeah, and it's like we have even people like all the ones that like JR and Anton, they're speaking about experiences that they lived through. This isn't just, this isn't two people that made this platform speaking like of things that they don't know. They know. So
no.
So Mr. Wesley.
No, they know. How hey, can I just chime in right
Mr.
quick?
Pryor. Mr.
Please,
Pryor.
please, can I chime in?
Yes, Mr.
If
Pryor.
you don't want me to, I can wait until last. I'll wait until last. I swear to...
It's okay. Go ahead.
Look, my mother, and my father taught me that once you buy the ticket, you ride the ride, nigga. In a discussion, you have to be this motherfucking tall. So when you buy the ticket, you ride the ride. So I be looking at people when they start talking, and I say to myself, man, do you understand these YouTube streets ain't the same? Nigga, I grew up in Flint, motherfucking Michigan. Bro.
You get your own YouTube channel, call it,
let me calm down. Let me calm down. You
get your own channel, call it Drinking
He about to
and
go
Streaming.
No, but the thing is, man, is I got 3 combat tours. I be looking at people that start talking like they that nigga, like
Mr. Pryor.
Man, I promise you now.
Mr. Pryor, thank you so much for your input. Wesley, please, can you bring some?
Yes, I think we need to turn off the news. The news is dead anyway. The news has not been serving us for the last 20 years, and for the last 6 years, they have been intentionally misleading everyone in every way, shape, form, or fashion. And I keep telling every time I get on a panel and someone asks me, I always say that I think that this is the new, like the new wave of communication for the future, the new way that people are going to reconnect, because with the institution of implementation of filter bubbles and Facebook social networks, people found ways to not be connected. But here we are having very open, very public conversations, and I think that this is after 20 years of not knowing how to look someone in the eyes, people are reconnecting and realizing, oh, well, this is how a conversation works. I don't have to be a jerk all the time. Oh, okay, we can just drink it off,
So so you're even bringing up the technological aspect of the freedom that we have in this country, and the way that we can be so free that we don't have to even speak to one another, and we still have relationships. Is that what you're
I don't have to smell any of you people there.
Wesley, oh my God. Can I say thank you to the super chat? Thank you, Mr. Surchi. He says, hey, Ameera, great topic. Go La Rams. Thank you.
LA Rams.
LA Rams.
Thank you, guys. So is there anything else before we close out? Does anyone else have any final words? Except Mr. Pryor. Mr. Pryor, please. I'm joking. No, I'm joking. Mr. Pryor, feel free.
I'm done.
Let him go in.
No, yeah, I will. Trust me. But
hold on. This and I'll keep it real simple. Keep it simple, stupid. You ever heard the KISS rule? Keep it simple, stupid. You ever heard that? Okay, so I'm gonna apply the KISS rule. Ameera, you my girl. I've been listening to y'all for a long time. Hey, look, Chicago Rilla, King, all y'all my guys. And I cannot wait until the next time we hold a conversation. I'm sorry, I got passionate. But I'm not gonna lie to you, man. There's some people out here that be talking reckless, and Jesus Christ, I be looking at my phone like, the fuck is wrong with these niggas? But I'm done. Not bad.
Thank you, Mr. Pryor, for representing the last name well.
Yes, ma'am, I'm done.
Your cousin.
No. I just want to ask, man, does Mr. Pryor have his own channel? Because he should get one. 110 on that.
You should for sure.
Yeah, I am. I'm gonna
Greenfield
start one
streaming.
called. I'm starting one called Cousins and Conversations next week for
What's
my
it
Yeah,
called?
birthday.
What's
Yeah,
it called?
yeah, you need to do
It's
that.
gonna be called Cousins and Conversations.
Presence and Conversations.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Well, guys, check out Mr. Pryor's channel. If you guys are feeling his
I'll be on the lookout
energy,
for
check
that.
his channel out.
Well, it hasn't started yet, but I'm gonna do the work.
No, but when you start it, yeah, when you start it, let us know. Let us
Yes,
know.
ma'am. I sure will. I
That
sure
would be
will.
great.
I just didn't want to say anything, but since my boy Benz called me out, King, you hurt
Yeah,
me.
man, let's do that. Let's
I'm
do
trying
that.
to be sensitive.
It's the wine.
I
It's
do
the
want to say. I
wine.
do want to say
The
one
wine
thing,
talking.
though.
Yes?
Man.
Sorry, guys. I just want to say one thing. I've been watching this show not for that long, to be honest with you. Probably around like 10 months or something like that. I thought it was a breath of fresh air when I did see it. I'll be honest. I made a conscious decision to not watch stuff like this anymore because I felt like it was actually having negative impacts on me and my fiance.
Ah, how so? Just really quickly, how so?
Because a lot of the things that are being said, especially by not JR, the other brother,
Anton.
Anton. I like Anton, yeah, I do. I definitely do. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of the stuff he says it's I can't be talking to my missus like that. Put it that way. I ain't talking to my missus. The way Kevin Samuels and all those people be talking, they act like it's almost like their relationship is very transactional with their woman, isn't it? And the problem with that is that poor guy, yeah, that low value guy is gonna be, am I allowed to say piping his missus every Wednesday, yeah? Every time he goes to, what time does he go to work? Yeah. Exactly. Because you need more than that. It's not just about money. It's about there's more to it than that. But I feel like a lot of guys are getting it especially a lot of my friends are getting it misconstrued. They think that high value guy, yeah, I just need to get this money up. Once I get this money up, then I can just be demanding things from my woman, you know, my pointing, finger wagging, you know, give me what I want right now. You know, I ain't got no time to listen to what you got to say. What the hell are you talking about? Listen, I'm doing my job. You go do your job. I can't talk to my missus like that, man. I'm like, baby, everything.
Mr. King, can I let me interject a little bit because I understand what you're saying, but in no way do we ever see Anton speaking in a rude or disrespectful way to his wife, and we see their
no, not to his wife, not to his wife. No, not at all. I'm not saying Anton. No. You're misunderstanding me. Hold on a second. I'm not disrespecting Anton or anybody for that matter.
No, I know. Yeah. That's not.
I'm simply saying, if you listen to the way certain people speak, if you don't know who these people are, eventually what's going to happen is, she all days always.
No, she all days always, bro. All days always.
I'm just saying, a lot of people are going to take that stuff as gospel. I'm very cautious of the fact that not everyone's going to understand what we're saying right now. There's some people who are going to misconstrue what we're saying, and they're going to take that information and go out into the world with that.
Mr. King, do you have an example of something, just so we can improve, so we can know what we can do better? Do you have an example of something that you think is kind of like something that you could not say to your wife?
Okay, look, I'm not saying Anton. It's just okay, look, let me say something else. Like maybe someone like Kevin Samuels, who I was watching for a really, really long time. Yeah.
No, we're talking about this network. We're talking about Anton and the Lapeef Network.
Okay,
we're not Kevin Samuels.
Okay. Look. You know what? Yeah, I don't want to mention any names. Let's forget the names. Person A or person B in it. Okay, this person is talking about people. The way that he's talking about people is like it's very transactional.
Okay.
I give you this, you give me that. I give you this, you give me that. I just don't think that human beings are really supposed to be working like that. I feel like I sit on the fence with most things because I always feel like, you know, I mean, you can make any side look plausible. Like you got to have a look and see what works for you, innit? And I don't know. I just think a lot of guys are upset.
Think about transactions the same way I did. Like I just told you, I was Like literally, man, you buy the ticket, you ride the ride. Anton's always been like that. I mean, we always been like that. Anywhere in Michigan, Illinois, it doesn't matter.
Well, just really quickly, I want to answer you, Mr. King. Mr. King, Anton is married. I'm married. We both kind of speak in this way because this is kind of a way to simplify the very complicated interactions that can happen when you're trying to either build a relationship, get married, and so on and so forth. A lot of times when we're trying to simplify things, and if Anton says this or that, Anton doesn't think that, oh, his wife does this, so then he does that. In no way is he ever said that.
You don't need to defend Anton. For the last time, yeah, I'm not coming at Anton.
Ameera,
no, I'm giving you an example. I'm just giving you.
No, you don't need to defend Anton because I'm not coming at him. I'm not. Listen, Anton, yeah, Anton's probably the person on the show that made me watch it the most because most of the things that he says is 100% correct. But no person is like 100% correct. There's gonna be things in it that you don't resonate with.
There's only 3 men, Mr. King. There's only 3 men that's on our panel. So
I know.
It would either be Rila because Mr. JR doesn't really speak that much.
I feel like the other guy. I feel like
quick.
Rila,
I just want to say something and I'll fall. I just want to say something real quick, please.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. You have to understand, man. Securing the bag is a defensive measure. So you have to understand the reason why he speaks the way he speaks is because he is in defensive posture. When you get that kind of money, especially in Detroit, Illinois, Flint, Lapeer, dog, you have to make sure once the bag is secured, it stays secured. So he talked the way he talked to make sure that people understand where they place at.
I play football, soccer, yeah. I'm a captain.
No, I got you. No, hold on. I'm not taking. Hold on. So we can say that shit. Everybody do contact sports. I did the real contact sports where people.
No, I know you. This is not a competition.
I think we just turned this horse into glue. We've beat it.
You talk like that. If I'm in an army, yeah, I'm talking in a certain way. Yeah. I'm not talking like that to my missus. That's all I'm saying.
Sir, I got
if I want to win and I've got my team behind me and they ain't pulling their weight, I'm gonna talk to them in a certain way. But I ain't talking to my woman like that. I don't need to.
You got a point.
I don't need to. I don't need to talk to her like that.
My bad. I went left and I should have went right. I zigged instead of zagged. My bad, King.
No, please don't apologize, man. No, you're the man. You are the man. Maybe I'm not explaining it correctly. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just I feel like my woman is she's not the person who's playing up front with me in my football team. She's not the person who's got my 6 with the rifle. Do you know what I'm saying? She ain't that person. Do you know what I mean? She's not. I'm not going to talk to her like that. It's not a transaction thing. She ain't my business partner like that.
Oh, okay. I get you.
It's more. She is my business partner, but she's more than that. Do you understand? I can't talk to her like that. I can't.
All I'm saying is I've noticed.
Someone's precious.
Hold on. What I'm saying is I noticed with the Lapeef Network is that the women have a way in, like they can talk and speak and exercise their opinions and minds like Ameera. They can do that, and nobody holds them to any type of task except for defending the conversation that they have. That's it, and I love that about them. That's the reason why I'm here right now, man. I should be asleep, bro.
Yeah, boy.
I mean, if we've seen the shows, guys, you see that the women get held accountable mostly by Anton. Usually, Anton is the one that is, holding the women accountable if something is being spoken. He's the one who is not afraid to go head to head.
Anton be killing the game. I think that sometimes I be listening to Anton and think his ass don't even like women.
This is what I'm saying. Sometimes I get that impression, and sometimes I get that impression. I'm like, does this guy actually like females at all? Because he can't. I think he's. When someone loves too much. Okay, so
have you watched this podcast, bro?
I look at the comment section.
King, have you watched one more thing?
Sorry, I just want to say one more thing. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Also, yeah, I look at the comment section sometimes, and when you look at the comment section, it kind of makes you feel like I don't want to be here. Why are people celebrating in the fact that this person doesn't understand how to get their relationship on point? Why are they celebrating at the fact that this person had a child when she was young, and now she's older and she's sorted out a few things and she still wants to kind of get married. Why are they celebrating at the fact that she made that error or mistake or whatever? I don't think
they're celebrating. They're kind of happy that she changed, that there's women that are changing and that there are women that are willing to change, because the majority aren't. So when
not Anton, by the way, I'm not talking about Anton, by the way. Yeah.
No,
when I say
how is
I'm not talking about Anton. I'm just saying if you look at the comment section yourself, you'll see people who said they constantly celebrating that.
But it's like, man, it's a comment section. They're just commenting. Bro, seriously, if you was having a conversation about something I ain't know nothing about and I commented on it, you'd be like, whatever, Joe. You would. You'd be like, all right, nigga. Come on, man.
I see it affecting my friends, though. This is another thing, because I see it affecting the people around me, innit? They watch a lot of these shows, and the way they're talking, it's like, bro, last year we were talking about women differently, but this year you're acting like you don't like
them, right?
So are they becoming negative, or are they becoming?
Yeah, they can't wait to.
No, but I'm asking, are they your brothers?
Mr. Pryor, 1 second. Let me see what King said. Is it negative change or positive?
It is. It's negative. It's negative because what it is, is I see it in them. They've talked to me about the old relationships that never went right or whatever. And now they're painting every woman with that same brush. And I'm telling you now, women do the same thing. Obviously, they do. Human beings, that's what we do. Some of us, that's what we do. Our prior experiences, we think, oh, it's going to happen again. And now we just feel like everyone's going to do that to us. You know what I'm saying?
I've seen that happen. King. I have seen it happen. And that's one of the bad things that we have with the whole red pill community. We do have a lot of men that are, they get, especially if you've seen like Fresh and Fit guys and so on.
Oh, mate, I can't stand them.
The community.
They're literally bonding over pain, innit? These guys are bonding over pain. And I said this to my woman. I said this to my woman once as well. Like I told her, like those friends of yours, some of them, they got a goal blood. Real talk. Because the only reason those lot are friends is because they talk about what went wrong in their lives and they connect on that. And it's not like they want to fix it. They just justify it. Because they get more people in the group that have gone through difficult times. So now they just justify the stuff that they went through. And they're not even trying to fix it now. Now they just like, oh yeah, as long as this person is wrong, I'm cool. You know, and unfortunately, she's had to knock off people. She's had to knock off friends because of this. Because they were infiltrating our relationship.
I'm done. JR.
What weirdo shit is this?
Oh shit!
I am so done.
Ameera, I don't know how you did his ass. I'm real.
JR, you know I don't like it. You just.
Bro, I'm weak.
JR, you know I don't like this. Oh my god. Guys, it's too early.
Hey man, you know what? I love your Teej Hanley commercial, man, and them ugly ass slippers too.
No. Okay, guys, I'm ready to close down, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Unless you guys want to stay with the Lapeef scary clown, I'm out. I gotta go.
Yeah.
Good night, guys.
Thank you. Hey, Ameera, thank you for having me on. You are awesome.
Thank you.
And I'm hoping to be able to spend some time with you again in the future.
In Houston, guys, please don't forget Houston. JR, please let them know about Houston.
Hey, King, Wayne, West, y'all my mans in there.
Oh yeah, make sure you guys click the link that's in the description. We are live in Houston, April the 23rd. Get your tickets. There's a capacity limit, so make sure you guys.
Hey, Phil, if I see you in Atlanta, man, I'm definitely gonna holler at you, bro.
Yeah. Right. Houston's lame. Come to Atlanta.
Thank you. Guys
we coming to Atlanta next?
Oh, sweet.
It's gonna. I'm sure every city is coming up. Bye, Wes. JR.
What's going on?
You're bad. Why you do that? You know I don't like it.
What'd I do?
You know what you did.
Nah.
I like the music though. That's nice.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, bye. I am JR. What are you doing? Oh my god. Ya Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Lehana. Why me? JR. Something is wrong with you, JR.
Absolutely.
You work too hard. That's why.
All right, that was a great show.
It was really nice, actually.
Who's that popped in? I don't know who that is. Somebody popped in. I don't know who that is.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Show is over, guys. I'm sorry. Thank you, Clue. Thank you, Clue. Thank you so much. Thank you, Luke Hasley, for showing up too. Nice to see you, girl. No, JR. Oh my God. I am over this. JR, please stop. It's not Halloween anymore. Halloween has been gone for a long time. JR. Oh my God. Oh my God. Where's the music?
I don't know. I don't know.
Put the music. One more. Good night, Kamaria. Thank you, girl. JR, stop. Oh my God. JR, stop. Thank you, Sticky. Thank you so much. Bye, Searchy. Have a good night. Have a good week, guys. Bye, Jedi Mike. JR, stop. Oh my God. What is wrong with the eyes? Is that you doing that, or is that graphics? Oh my God. JR. Not scary hours. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Napoleon. Just Day, thank you so much for always being with us. Thank you for always supporting us too. She said people under the stairs. Wow. Thank you, Santana. Thank you so much. JR, please. Oh my God. Hi, Clue. Her voice cracks me up. Why? Because I'm all freaked out? Thanks. Thank you, AI Matrix. Thank you so much. Bye, brother Grundy. JR, can you... JR, quit. Bye, Dawn. Wait, what's it say? I love the way she called him. I need a sweet girl. Thank you so much. It's too much, Dan. Too much. You see what I have to deal with, right? You see this, right? You guys see this. Look at all of this happening. JR. Look at this. No. Good night, brother Gandhi. Thank you, Wes. Have a good night. Have a good week, guys. I hope you guys have a great, successful, productive week.
All right, we out of here.
Good night.